Hi guys, this is Ray with PhoneArena and I'm at Sony's booth here at MWC 2014. Right now I'm doing a quick early comparison video between the Sony Xperia Z2 and the Apple iPhone 5S. So two very hot handsets, high-end ultra-performing smartphones here. One is Android, one is iOS, but it doesn't matter because right now we're gonna be seeing how those two devices differ. Now, first of all, I want to mention that Sony has employed very stylish and exquisite design language ever since the Xperia Z, and it's continuing to improve it on and on with every consecutive flagship smartphone. This is how the new iPhone looks. You know, it has an aluminum back panel, but other than that, both handsets are just superb in terms of build quality, in terms of appearance. You know, they both seem very high-end and expensive, stuff that you would expect from every high-end smartphones, because, you know, guys, those things cost a lot and they better look expensive and nice, you know what I mean. So moving on to the displays. Now, obviously, this is where the biggest difference between the two smartphones is. You know, on this Xperia Z2, I have a 5.2-inch IPS screen, so larger than life. You know, it's extremely massive, especially when we are comparing it to the 4-inch display on the iPhone 5S. Of course, that makes Apple's handset much more easier to you know, to use with one hand. It makes it lighter, smaller, more compact, much more practical actually. Whereas the Z2, you know, it's not that small, it's harder to use with one hand, but of course the benefits of having such a large display are, I mean, they're obvious. You know, movies, games, images, everything looks bigger and better on the Xperia Z2. So it's a 1080p display. It's a 5.2-inch one, but still pixel density is going to be higher than what you have on the iPhone 5S. You know, it has a resolution of 640 by 1136 pixels, but the smaller size means that its pixel density and image clarity is also very good. So you know, you won't have any legibility issues or stuff like that with either phone. Though things should be, you know, things are going to be easier to see and read and enjoy on the much larger screen of the Xperia Z2. Now, I'm glad to report that the new screen that Sony has used on the Z2 Android flagship is actually an IPS one, so colors are you know, they're tremendously improved over what we had just half a year ago in the Z1, and that was one pretty good display, you know. So the Z2 actually smashes that and improves it in every possible way. The color gamut is much larger than the Z1. You know, colors should be more accurate. Viewing angles are now actually normal. You know, but compared to the iPhone 5S, which has what's probably one of the very best screens in the industry, you know, it's probably about equal when it comes to vibrancy and color saturation. I would make an educated guess here and say that it will probably have lower maximum brightness compared to what the iPhone can output, but that's still to be confirmed though. Now, in terms of operating system and user interfaces, you know, these can't get more different than they already are. We have Android 4.4 KitKat here on the Xperia Z2 with Sony's custom user interface on top. It's a pretty nice UI, pretty clean, and You know, it's a straightforward one, especially compared to some of the others out there. And on the iPhone 5S, it's just the iOS 7 experience, you know, with all the colorful icons, translucency and stuff like that. So obviously the iPhone 5S is going to be the more mainstream, more straightforward device with even no main menu. It's you know, the app launcher is just your home screen. And on the Z2, you know, things are going to be a bit more complicated, but that also means that it's gonna have the more versatile software of the two. You have those animated widgets and things like that, updating live with information straight from your home screen. You know, you don't get that kind of stuff with the iPhone 5S and iOS 7, you know. So they both have great user interfaces. The iOS 7 is probably just a bit more polished when it comes to appearance, functionality, bugs and things like that. But once again, Sony has one of the best Android user interfaces, and it's pretty cool, and it's gonna work very well, especially for those of you who desire a bit more functionality and versatility out of your smartphone. Now, the processors inside, you know, the iPhone 5S has the A7 chip, which is extremely powerful. It's one of the best in the industry right now, but I think it can be rivaled by Snapdragon 801 here in the Xperia Z2. Now, this unit is experiencing just a bit of a lag here, but that's probably due to it running non-final software. Or at least I hope so. But you know, I think both devices are going to perform on par. But when it comes to system performance, probably the iPhone won't be surpassed anytime soon. But you know, when it comes to stuff like games, movies and things like that, you aren't going to have any issues with either of these. Now the cameras here, we have the excellent 20 megapixel G-Lens camera on the Xperia Z2. And we have the 8 megapixel iSight camera on the iPhone 5S. Now when it comes to outdoor photographs, where there is an abundance of lighting, we think the G-Lens camera is going to work better for you. Although, you know, the iPhone is just easier to use. You just take it out, take a shot, and bam, you have a great picture. Whereas the Z2, once again, it will give you a bit more versatility, a bit more options when it comes to image taking. So, but I think you'll be able, in those perfect lighting conditions, you will be able to achieve better results with the G-Lens camera, especially when it comes to details and stuff like that. So let me show you its camera interface. You know the iPhone 1, yeah, it's pretty minimalist. You have a bunch of shooting modes and flash modes, HDR, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, you have the color effects right there. With the Z2, you have much more things to do here. You have smile shutter, self-timers, aspect ratio, stuff like that. And there are, of course, the different shooting modes right here. The new thing with the Z2 is that it can shoot 4K video. So with the iPhone 5S, you get up to 1080p video, but with the Z2, if you want, you can get up to 4K, which is great. There are some new shooting modes here as well that you don't get with the iPhone 5S, though most of these you can actually get by installing third-party apps on the iPhone. And there is, of course, the manual mode, which lets you take up to 20 megapixel images here, and you know, tweak different kinds of settings and things like that. So that's it. When it comes to those perfect lighting conditions, we think that's still an educated guess, but you know, I'm basing this on my experience with the Z1. So the Z2 should allow you to take better photographs in perfect lighting conditions, though I don't think this is going to be true for night scenarios, for indoors and things like that, though it will still have a great camera. And be sure to stay tuned, guys, you know, in the coming weeks or months. At most, we're gonna have that camera comparison for you, so you'll be able to see exactly how the Z2 ranks amongst all those other hot smartphones out there. So that was our first hands-on comparison between the Xperia Z2 and the Apple iPhone 5s. If you want to learn more about these two amazing smartphones, check us out at PhoneArena.com.